The cars are heading out onto the circuit from the pit lane for the touring car and smaller GT classes. We've got the D1A2, A3, Cup 1 TCR and GT4 cars for their crack at this challenging, much more challenging circuit than one might think. The cars have got a limited amount of time, just half an hour, in terms of getting out there and getting done what needs to be done. And Graham, who are we going to see at the sharp end of the field here?
Well, amongst that gaggle of classes, if you like, the fun-size classes here at the Dubai 24 Hours, it is just 46 cars out on track for this one, John. And that's probably about 4 times a decent grid for most national series in most national markets around the world. So it's still going to be quite crowded, but we're going to see a wide variety of cars. Those watching on the video stream at the moment are watching one of the Ginetta G55s that have seen a huge amount of success in this race in recent years. Black Falcon here with Caymans, Porsche Caymans galore are going to be on track. Lots of touring cars, large and small. The Renault Clio's at the smaller end of those. The TCR cars, and what wonderful things they look around here, are going to be at the sharp end of that. We're going to see some names as well. Sebastian Bleekemolen is out on track. Jan Mardenborough, there's someone whose career started here at the Dubai 24 Hours, and what great things he's gone on to and what lies ahead for what could be a very exciting 2017 season for the young Briton, one of the early winners of the Nissan GT Academy. So lots of names, lots and lots of different cars that are going to be lapping very quickly here. The first, of course, competitive laps of the weekend for the 24-hour series cars. And in the next session, by the way, lest we forget, there will be a world competitive debut of a car. We'll talk about that one a little later.
Oh yes, there's 2 actually.
No, only 1.
What? Competitive debuts?
Correct.
The M4.
Yes.
And your favourite car?
Which one?
The one that there's only 1 of.
Oh no, that's a different kettle of fish. Different kettle of fish. I thought we were talking about a TCR car which has raced before.
Oh right, okay, no. I was talking about the M4. That is a world competitive debut.
That is a world competitive debut.
It's actually running out of homologation. It hasn't been homologated yet, which is why it's running in SPX.
Absolutely, but it's the Schubert Motorsport Run BMW M4 GT4, a customer car for next year. Would you believe? Already
out testing, and without any camo on it either now, other than the back window, trying to keep the sun out of it. Didn't have a great last session actually. Couple of fuel leaks. And I did notice that the manager of the team was being asked to get down to race control.
Absolutely. Mike Simpson out in this session in the number 178 Ginetta. Ended up as a winner in class last night after some time adjustments in the Graf Racing Ginetta G57, the last of 3 Proto Series preview races ahead of the 12-hour races later this year. But Mike is out there. George Richardson in the 152. So some recognisable names, some exciting looking race cars. If touring cars floateth your boateth, then there's plenty of those out there, and the little sports cars too. A bit of an off at the moment, running wide for one of the Seats. Can't see the number quite from here. And
well, look, Graham.
It's I just saw a TV picture.
Ah, okay.
So we're going to start to get competitive times through pretty soon. And the first throw is Stuart Lynn in the 231 car. Stuart, again, raced before. It's a 12.422 for the 231.
Jack Mitchell goes through in the 229 to take provisional pole position for SP3. These are the GT4 cars.
That's the 229 is a Century Motorsport car, another team, by the way, that's been competing in both the prototype race and this full 24-hour race grid. 231 second at the moment, and that's another car that's been in team that's been in prototype series action. Optima Motorsport actually won the second race overall with their new Ginetta G57 P2. So it's a pair of Ginettas top of the pile at the moment, ahead of the 243. That is a car in the hands of Gabriele Piana. And the 243 is the first of the Black Falcon cars. It's the new GT4 Porsche Cayman. That car going through in a 212.818.
Andrew Cooksley asking, says it's early morning here, brain not functioning fully. He's tweeted at DSC editor and asked at Specutainment. Don't forget to use, by the way, the hashtag 24H series. What's the difference between a G4 Ginetta G55 and the G50? Engine size?
There's a lot of differences. It's a lot of aero work that's been done on it, so it's completely different bodywork on that car. Far more.
The 55 has got the bigger arches as well. It looks a bit more meaty and it's got a much bigger rear wing.
55 looks like a G50 that's been in the gym and has got a bit of a bad attitude problem.
It's got love and hate tattooed on its knuckles.
Cracking little race car. I mean,
what, the 55?
You've driven one.
I've driven an endurance car in a sprint series, and it was still competitive. Not the driver so much, but the car. A very clever air conditioning system that only works when you're off throttle, so you're not robbing the car of any power when you need the oomph. And that round here will work very, very well.
Well, the Ginettas have
very
had
well
success
put together.
Here.
Yeah, they're class winners here.
They are indeed. So it's 1-2 for the Ginettas at the moment. Stuart Lindau's pitted straight away after setting that second fastest time. Then Gabriele Piana, my apologies, in the first of the Black Falcon cars. 267 goes through. Kevin Tay in that car. And that is another of the Porsche Caymans. It's one of the GDL Racing Team Asia cars.
Let's keep an eye up on the other classes as well. Oscar Sandberg for the 151. That's the Bonk Motorsport car. So no, it's not. It's the Zorg Rennsport car. Excuse me. Bonks are 145 and 146, aren't they? Zorg have got a couple there. That's the BMW M235 class. Now, that was a car that was built by BMW Motorsport.
Absolutely.
Mainly for VLN racing on the Nordschleife, but has gone into other bits and pieces. The Audi on its way out of the pit lane for its first crack at it.
Am I right that one of those Cup 1 cars finished on the overall podium, the 25 of Silverstone last year? I think it did.
Yeah,
Barlow Motorsport had the car out. New fastest lap of the session goes to Mike Simpson in the number 178 car. Another Ginettas. That's the CWS's Colin White's car. So a man
with Brandon Gintovic in that car.
Absolutely. And Jan Mardenborough takes the 1-2-3 Team RJN Nissan to second place. Both those cars under 210 already. So it's 208.835 for Mike Simpson. It's a 209.312 for Jan Mardenborough. So we're getting a bit of variety up there. First the TCRs, meanwhile, into the top 5. And that's Sebastian Blekemolen in the
100 car.
Absolutely. That's a Seat, isn't it, that one?
Yes, it is. That car was bossing the Silverstone 24 hours for a very long time until it expired in the most ignominious circumstances. Proper old-fashioned turbo blow, I seem to remember.
It was certainly doing a red hours impression down the main straight, wasn't it? It happened very suddenly. Awful luck for that team.
A3 leader at the moment is the number 908 team Ultron Peugeot 208 GTI in the, I think, very catching matte dark grey and sort of a raspberry juice colour.
Stylish, those French, I tell you.
Coupe Fresh, they call it, I think. Quite a lot of the sport cars, you can buy them in those colours on the street as well. And in A3, it's the 133, and that is the PB Racing. That's the Italian Lotus Elise Cup, with a little bit of tweaking from the PB Racing team.
Quicker again from both the top men and both into the 208s now. Mike Simpson down at 208.153, retains provisional pole in SB3G. Jan Mardenborough down into 208.908 now.
Yeah, Simpson heading down through the S's into turn number 6. He's got a bit of traffic in the rather more sedately liveried CWS than we saw in the G57 P2, which was a very fetching, I thought, metallic, a combination of metallic teal blue and gold, which are the CWS colours. This is a black car with the CWS logos and some highlights on it, and 4 very bright LED light bars.
Yep. Closes in and passes the number 152 car down the back straight in pursuit of further improvement. He's improved in sector 1. But new third-place car in the order. It's another SP3G car. It's Nathan Freak this time, the 229 car. That's another of the Century cars.
The 152, by the way, is a BMW, another one of the Zorg Rennsport
that is
cars.
that is George Richardson.
That's the fastest car, isn't it?
Yeah, that's George Richardson. Not anymore. George improving his time at the moment. That is third.
Yes, he's been usurped by Oscar Sandberg, who's come into the pits in the 151. So it is the Zorg cars have first and third in Cup at the moment. Jimmy De Bruyker in the 154, which is the QSR Belgium entered Cup car. Ginetta is very quick indeed towards the end of the lap, coming down to the final section, carving its way past the Optimum car, similar car from Optimum, just going to drop in behind it now and follow it down the main straight. That's a really smart thing to do. The red, white and black Optimum Motorsport car across the line for Simpson, 207.812. Wow. Another fastest lap. Jan Mardenborough 208.9 last time around. Now will Simpson go for another lap, and more importantly, will he drag that Optimum car around with him, Graham? That's not the worst thing to do if you're the Optimum driver, so long as Simpson stays on it.
Yeah, Mardenborough pits at the end of that lap. No improvement coming there. There's no one that knows more about these Ginetta cars than Mike Simpson. He is a factory driver. He's a full-time employee, and he's getting
curse of the commentator. Turn 6.
Half spin, I'm afraid, for Mike Simpson, leaning on it just a little too much.
Turn 6 came in a bit too fast and tried. It's a really important part of the circuit there, Graham. You rattle through 4 and 5, the chicane, and you straight line those, and you are just feathering the throttle and the brake as you he had to, right, that's not Mike's fault. He is pinching the corner to avoid the Seat further out.
Yeah.
So he's had to turn the wheel more than he wanted to, which has induced the rear end to come around more, and at the speed that he's going, which is the ragged edge of adhesion and then a bit, there's just nothing he can do. It speaks volumes, by the way, about the Ginetta, that he could put more lock into it at that point, and it didn't just understeer on, it did actually modify its line. But at that point, the inertia from the back end and the swinging motion took over, and eventually, I'm afraid, physics won out, and Mike was facing partially the wrong direction and being annoyed there because he was on a half-decent lap.
Absolutely. Still retains the provisional pole position in SP3G. It's the CWS Ginetta from the 123 RJN Nissan. Then Nathan Freak in the first of the Century cars. Then it's Stuart Lynn in the second Century G55. Daniel Ross now up into 6th position.
Yeah, Stuart Lynn was in the Optimum car that was behind Mike when he spun, and he's just popped up into 4th position. So he did get a decent early part and managed to avoid the spinning 178 car. I just wonder if there's maybe a flat spot or two on those Hankook tyres from the CWS car as Mike comes into the pit lane.
And he's had his last lap time deleted for track limits, so he's back down to a 2:08.1. So the target for everybody else comes back a little by about 3/10. So Mike was pressing on very hard, and apparently a little too hard there.
Nathan Freak's car is going into the pits, but not into the pit. That car looks like it was cast from solid billet yesterday, doesn't it? It is absolutely shining like only a shiny thing can. We're losing sunlight here. New set of Hankooks about to go on that car.
So SP3 GT4 cars are 1 to 5. Then it's the first of the TCR, still in the hands of Sebastian Blake-Mullen's number 100 Seat. James Kay, meanwhile, moves up to 13th overall. A man doing double duty, remember, with the TCR Middle East Championship in the same car, the number 108, the Audi RS3 LMS. Second competitive outing for that car, and it was the VLN.
By the way, it was Nathan Freak who did the time in the 229 car. The timing is just catching up with what's going on. Bruce Jones down in the pit lane with Mike Simpson.
Mike Simpson, it was going so well, fastest. In fact, you just had your fastest time taken away for exceeding track limits, but you're still top. Talk us through the spin, though.
Well, there was a Seat. I don't know what he was doing. He sort of went offline a bit. They're going very slow. He may have been on his outlap, I don't know. Didn't look at his mirror.
Is it at turn 6?
Turn 6, and you know, I'm coming in there committed. I've got Nathan Freak behind me. We're both on, you know, pull each other around. Let's get the Ginettas up there, and it's just a car there. So it was either plough into him or put the car into a spin. So yeah, is what it is. I think I've just had my quickest time deleted because I nibbled a bit at turn 2. It's my fault, but it's qualifying. So the car's good, car's strong. Colin White and his team CWS have done a great job and prepared a good car for the race. So that's the important thing.
Exactly so. Thanks, Mike.
So pretty much as I said then, mate.
Yeah. Okay, turn down the smoke. Come on. But you're absolutely
Hey,
right.
listen, when it comes to racing driver excuses, I might not have the pace, but I've got the excuses down to an absolute T.
Spot on, but it's absolutely right. Meantime, something more than nibbling the corner there from the number 108 James Kay rejoins the track after an off-track moment in the Audi.
That was cutting right across the bottom of the back corner at turn numbers 8 and 9. We have got 13 and a half minutes to go. We're live trackside in sound and vision. RadioLeMans.com bringing you qualifying for the touring cars and the GT4s. One of the things that should point out to you with the GT4 cars is that they do have standard wheel nuts. They don't have centre lock wheels.
Yes.
So when you see the GT4 versions of the Ginettas having their wheels changed, they'll tend to have a single wheel gun, but they're doing 5 or 4 studs. I think they're 5 stud wheels actually, from memory.
Meantime, first the Porsches now in the order with it's Ginetta, Nissan, Ginetta. 111 just pops into, that's the Lotus, the little Lotus goes up into 6th position overall in the current standings in this session. Adam Knight aboard the Track Club Lotus Evora GT4. That's just edged the first of the Porsches down, but it doesn't because the 241 improves straight away. Daniel Russ going up into 5th position in the order. And that will be 5th in SP3 GT4 as well. That's the Alpha Racing Porsche GT4 Club Sports.
Nice to see Dan Wheeler qualifying the number 303. Dan, the driving force behind the clothing company Dread, from middle of England, and Milton Keynes. He's in the Red Camel Jordan.nl TCR Seat, which has just been out in TCR qualifying.
Absolutely.
And the issue with that is that it was running different tyres and different ride height and a different minimum weight as well.
That's a quick bit of turnaround. New pole sitter in the TCR class. It goes to Matthias Special.
Spins
That's the 100 car. That's Blinkermolen.
That's the fastest TCR car going around on the exit of turn 6.
Not the fastest TCR car, because to pole in TCR, and he's probably just got that message, which is what caused the spin. It's Matthias Besch in the Modern Motorsports.
I'm not going to get used to seeing Matthias Besch in a Seat.
He was in a Clio last year, wasn't he?
Yes. Modern Motorsports Seat.
Absolutely.
See, it's Matthias Besch Modern Motorsports, fine. Matthias Besch Seat.
Yeah. Now, if you think their problem's just changing ride heights and the kind of the feel of the tyres, he's just come back from Daytona where he set, I think, the 2nd or 3rd fastest time at the Raw before the 24 hours in an Orica LMP2 coupe. So he's quick in both those things.
What about Brandon
Besch.
Godovic jumping in? Godovic jumping in and out of 3 different cars this weekend. I'm tremendously impressed with that young man.
Excellent stuff.
Simpson's in the pits, but has a handy lead, round about 0.8 of a second. Jan Mardenborough in second, so it's the 178 Ginetta leading from the 123 Nissan. Just goes across the line to start another lap in second. Nathan Freak, by the way, it was, who was following Mike Simpson, as we heard Mike sing, trying to tour them round to get the front row lockout for the Ginetta brand. Then Stuart Lynn in the 231 in 4th position. All of these are GT3 cars, down to 7th position. And then we've got the first of the TCRs, which is that Seat of Matthias Besch and the 216 from Sebastian Blinkermolen in a similar car, the 100, by half a second or thereabouts.
Blinkermolen, by the way, pits after that spin.
Not surprised. A3, Guillaume Romain, familiar name in the Ultron 308 Peugeot. So I saw they were running a 208. That is the 208. The 308 is rather confusingly a 208. Why they didn't do that with one of the other numbers, I'm going to get that wrong all weekend. 4 o'clock in the morning, that's not going to be remembered, is it?
A2, meanwhile, in the hands of Jakob Christensen in the number 171. There's another Peugeot, it's the RCZ, of course.
Ah, yes. That's an A2 car as well, isn't it?
And Cup 1 at the moment in the hands of Stefan Epp in the 151 car. That's one of the Zorg Rennsport cars.
Correct.
The BMW M235i's.
Jan Mardenborough behind the wheel of the Nissan up at turn number 12 at the moment. Got to get the lock wound off nice and early there. He'll dive down the hill. Now let's hope we can stay with him nice and calm behind the wheel as he comes to the kink at 13, goes all the way to the right hand side of the road, doesn't go all the way to the curb because he needs to be back on the right hand side for turn 14, braking all the way into the apex, then let the car breathe, then drag it back for the second part of the corner, get the car as straight as you can as you head towards turn 15 because you go across a rise. And a moment or two ago, problems for the 245 Porsche Cayman, the Slide Sports car. Now we saw this car out in the Abu Dhabi 12 hours. Slide Sports with speedway racing background, hence the name, and that looks to me as though that car is heading off up the hill link there, the club link.
Yeah, Josh Cahill at the wheel of that car. That is at the moment, where is Josh in the order? 16th in the order overall. The way down in the GT4 SP3 GT4 class. Improvements underway though, and the first of them I think has come, has it not? It has. Jan Mardenborough has got closer to Mike Simpson's time. 8 minutes to go in the session. He's just put in a 2:08.471, 3/10 back now from the pole position car in GT4, which sits in pit lane at the moment. Improvement as well, or is it an improvement for Stuart Lynn? 2:09.725 for the 231 car.
That's his best lap. His last lap was a 2:11. So not an improvement there.
And meantime, improvement 4th in TCR for Daniel Wheeler, the 303 car.
Don't call him Daniel. Only his mum calls him Daniel, and that's only when she's annoyed with him.
Sorry, Dan.
Matthias Pesch out in the front-wheel drive car, the Seat, and he is heading through turn 10 towards the kink at turn 11. He's got traffic ahead of him. Clearly see the driver identification. Thank you, Graham. Lost for words there for a moment.
That, or they've got their own playlist on the stereo in that. But I suspect you're the right one.
I tell you what, it's a good job I wasn't driving that car because I was on the wrong part of the track entirely. He's on the back straight now, which looks very long indeed in that car. Now he's probably pulling well over 120, 130 miles an hour, and yet it looks like he's standing still.
Lifted off. No, he has lifted off. He's cruising. He's definitely cruising because somebody just blew by him in a green BMW.
Now he's going through turn number 10. Turn 11, you let the car drift to the middle of the track on the exit and then tighten it in for turn 12. Yeah, I don't think he's on full power here as he comes up to 12 downshifts. Careful on the exit, he's letting people through here. I think he's looking for a bit of space on the circuit, maybe to go for another lap, Graham, and he's cut back on the inside of the Porsche that's just gone by him. Comes down to turn 13. He's having a look in his mirror on the left-hand side to see where that Porsche is as he's building up speed. The time ticking away. He's been on the lap. A little bit of a loss of grip from the rear end in 14 there. Revving up to about 6,000 revs. Snatching at about 6-7 the next gear and comes down the final corner now. He stays out, so he is going to go for another lap. Let's see how he tackles turn 16. It's difficult because it's a very, very late apex indeed, and you run all the way out to the curb. And he's still looking to see where that Porsche got to. He goes underneath us now. So across the line then for Matthias Pesch, going over the top of the brow. Look for your braking point. Down into turn 1, the road falling away from you. Very difficult indeed to spot the point that you need to hit the curb. Right up on the curb in turn 2 and then get it hauled across to the left-hand side of the road because turn 3 comes up that quick. Balance the car super quick through here and then get it nice and straight through the chicane. You want to try and get the wheel straight and right up in the middle and then straightened again before you turn hard to the right for turn 6. You can let the car breathe just a little bit after you've taken the apex through 7, 8, 9 come together, and it's that banked part of 9 that you can really get the car tucked down into and get the power on super early. Even the front-wheel drive car had to have a lot of lock on there from Matthias Besch as he came out, and that will have scrubbed off speed and momentum. Now down the long middle straight, down towards turn 10. Take a breath, look at your gauges. Am I shifting up at the right point? Is everything working? Do I need to scratch my nose? Now onto the brakes, down 1, 2, 3, 4 gears, turn in, wait, now get the power on, unload the lock, and keep the car in the middle of the road for turn number 11. Take a little bit of curb, but not too much. You don't want to unsettle the back end. Traffic ahead now. Which way do you go, left or right? It's going to be down the inside. That'll compromise your entry to turn 12. Not too bad a thing. You can run out a little bit wide, but don't lose all of the grip as you come over the top of the rise. Now down to 13. 13, set yourself up on the right hand side of the road, turn in, just suggest to the car that it's going to come in and let the car drift. Again, you're braking very, very late, just on the change of tarmac there. Wait and pull the car back to the inside. All 4 wheels on the curb pretty much as you square off the corner and head for 15. Say out ahead of him that he needs to be down the inside of here going into turn 16. Looks like a decent lap for Besch in the Modena Motorsports car. 16 compromised his entry there, and this is not, I think, going to be his best lap. He's had too much traffic. A very busy lap indeed for Matthias Besch as he crosses the line and goes through to click off another lap.
He does improve his time, but loses a position because of an improvement from 2 of the GT4 cars. Nico Verdonk in the 86 Pro Sport Porsche, Caitlin Wood in the 246. That's one of the Reiter Engineering KTMs. Both improve just as Matthias Besch improves his time, but he does give himself a little more breathing space ahead of Sebastian Bleekemolen. And Besch is now the bottom car, if you like, in the top 10. All the 9 cars ahead of him, GT4 cars. Then we've got the leading 2 TCRs, a couple more of the SP3 GT4 cars, and then a couple more of the TCRs. Still in the classes as they were, John. A couple of movements up and down in the GT4 cars at the sharp end of the field. It's still Mike Simpson on provisional pole. 2.5 minutes to go from Jan Mardenborough has closed that gap. Stuart Lynn has improved up the order courtesy of Nathan Freak losing his fastest lap time just a few moments ago, and now up into the top 5 for the first time. The 111 car, that's the Track Club Lotus Evora. Jamie Stanley at the wheel of that car.
Yeah, Matthias Besch still in pole provisionally for the TCR class, in 10th overall from Bleekemolen sitting in behind him. In A3, Guillaume Roman in the 208 GTI for Ultran leads that from Yusuf Basil in the 908, which I think is a 308. Why didn't they number them the other way around? No, that's another 208.
I can tell you it's definitely not a 908.
No, it's another 208. Yeah, but it's a good Peugeot number. I like
Absolutely.
that I don't have a problem with.
The Nico Verdonk Pro Sport Porsche has lost 8th position to Caitlin Wood in the 246 car. That is the Reiter Engineering GT4 version of the KTM Crossbow Coupe.
So what else have we got? Cup 1, 3 Cup 1 cars tied together in 24th on down. Stefan Epp in the 151 has the provisional pole position at the moment for Zorg Rennsport. In A2, Jakob Christensen is in the pits in the RCZ Peugeot, the team Keireicher. And I think that's your lot, isn't it, as far as the classes is concerned?
Yes, indeed. In this session, we have
no diesel classes here, but we have got diesel cars, haven't we?
What they normally do with a very small entry for the D1 class is to reclassify them into one of the
into an A2 or an A3.
Indeed, correct.
Yeah. Okay, that seems sensible.
Nathan Freak, 209.269, is the leading car still out on circuit in the top 4, and the only one in the top 4 still out on circuit.
Jamie Stanley's out there though in the number 111 Lotus, and he's got past a bit of traffic in the early part of the lap. Now, can he make that count and improve the time of 2:0? What's that? Is that a 7?
It's a 9.
9, okay.
209.885. Jamie Stanley improved. A couple of laps ago, pushing very hard. What a lovely livery those Hankook corporate colours make.
Works really well on the Evora. I'd like to see more people with the Evora GT4. It's a good little package.
Well, you'll be seeing more of one of those cars, I think, later.
Bet for some unknown reason at all, because it sounds just like Ginetta. Sorry, 229 Ginetta and complete his lap.
James Kay improves the time in the 108 Audi RS3 LMS, the brand new Audi TCR car, third quickest, 2:12.820, third quickest in class, 13th overall. Just watching Nathan Freak's times as this lap comes through. Some further improvements further down the order.
And let's go down to the pit lane for some driver comments at the end of the first part of qualifying.
Yeah, with Jan Mardenborough, Jan tried very hard, but second.
Yeah, second position. Happy, but 3 attempts to pole would have been great. But Ginetta was too strong. But tomorrow, when is it? Tomorrow? 24 hours, so a long race, and yeah, we'll be there. We've been pretty quick all weekend, all 4 of us. So it's a new GT. We have the new GT Academy drivers here with us. Last year's winner, Johnny Gundy from Mexico, and getting everyone up to speed. And it's nice to be back in a sports car. Nice to be back in the GT4. Last time I was here was 5 years ago now. So yeah, it's quite close. It's nice to be. All the cars are pretty close together. So I'm hyped for the race tomorrow.
You confirmed in the second, Nathan Freak avoided his last lap. It's been a bit of a crazy ride of the last 5 years for you, isn't it? Almost P1, lots of single-seater.
Yeah, almost P1. But in general, the experiences that I've had, the cars that I've driven, LMP1, the front-wheel drive Nissan, and Super GT in Japan last year, alongside Formula 3, LMP2, lots of cars. But I really enjoy driving lots of different machinery. So to jump back in the GT4 car with RJN Motorsport, yeah, it's good. It's good fun.
Thanks, Jan.
Well, will we see him stepping up to GT500 drive in the Super GT class this coming season? He's just been voted Rookie of the Year by a very well respected independent media outlet in Japan. Which is very, very good news indeed. Might be trouble there for the 235M, 235i, cruising around to the pits.
So that is the confirmation then, 0.3 of a second, just under, from Mike Simpson to Jan Mardenborough. Nathan Freak in third for Century Motorsport, ahead of Optimum Motorsport, Stuart Lynn, then Jamie Stanley for the Track Club concern. Schouten and Frederick Russ in 6th and 7th. Top 10, well, separated by nothing at all, really. Best of the TCR in 10th position was Matthias Best, just ahead of that team, Blake Amall. Looking further down, best of the year, 3 cars for Peugeot and Team all in 19th position. And into the 20s, another class sitter down for 4 Sport Cup 1 degree for MW2. 35 eyes, and that means we have the position number 31 for another pole sitter, and that is Jakob Christensen's Team K Race, the Peugeot RCZ, who take a pole position in Class A2. Graham, your thoughts?
2 things. We've got 235i that has actually stopped out on circuit, will require a bit of a time, I think, and we should also know on the 4 company that did not get out into the session in those classes. There's the number 57 car. That's one of the TCR machines. And before Johnny steps in for me, I will shoot down to Nick Damon with the with Matthias Besch, pole sitter in TCR and 10th overall. Pretty good.
Matthias, great performance in the TCR, 10th overall. You were trying to wring this thing's neck. Was that the best you could do?
Yeah, well, the team did a great job because we had a lot of work, and last minute we were allowed to take out some ballast, all the TCR, so it was really, really tough for the team and struggling to put fuel in. So it was pretty an intense qualifying. There was a lot of car. Actually, I could have do a 210, but yeah, so much traffic. But we're still very happy to be 5/10 clear of the other TCR, and now it's the best to start a 24 hours race to be on pole, but long race to go actually, so it's going to be difficult for everyone.
How easy is it to dial yourself in? A week ago, it was freezing cold in Florida, and you were in a P2 car going very quick round a bank circuit. Now it's lovely and warm, but you're in a saloon car.
Hey, it's fantastic, you know. Last year I drove the Clio. Everybody was pretty surprised because I was doing the LMP1 and I came here for Clio. But you know, I'm having fun in every car, and actually it's also a challenge. There is some good team, you know, so good drivers, which I respect a lot. And every series is very competitive, so coming into that is not an easy thing. And for sure, it's much more easy to drive than a P2. I won't lie, but I'm also taking a lot of pleasure with my friend here, and I'm a perfectionist, so I try to do my best, and I want to win.
So thanks. Well done.
Thank you, guys.
The enthusiast Matthias Besch, and clearly showing that he's lost none of the skills he's developed in world-class prototype sports car racing, Johnny, at the wheel of a TCR touring car.
So So it's the qualifying for the Dubai 24 Hours at radiolemans.com, and Johnny Palmer moving into John Hindhaug's spot to anchor this session along with Graham Goodwin.
It's half an hour more of qualifying action to come, Johnny, and this is where we get into the big boys. It's the A6, the GT3 cars, SPX, SP2, the 991 and 997 Porsches. It's going to be no less busy out there. Something around 50 cars due out on track. And this is where we find out, particularly from the pro cars at the top of the order, just how quickly this year a GT3 car will go around this Dubai Autodrome circuit, losing daylight reasonably quickly. And certainly temperature will be coming down a little. Some of the cars out on the apron at the moment.
There is prolonged darkness at this race, though, isn't there? Once we get into the 24-hour format, it's Paul Truswell. Does it hold the record for the longest amount of hours? It's identical to Daytona. I knew it was either outright #1 or equal. So equal to Daytona to the minute.
Lots more than Le Mans in the dark.
Yes, Le Mans specifically deliberately held as close to the longest day as possible, so you have as minimum amount of darkness out as possible there. But of course now we're in the winter, in winter in the northern hemisphere, and this has more darkness than daylight, and equal to Daytona to the minute, as Paul Truswell's just uttered into my ear. So with the sun, yes, as you say, thinking about starting to set now, we won't be at darkness by the end of this session, but nevertheless, it'll be something that these drivers will need to take into account ahead of tomorrow's race.
I think we'll be well into the gloaming, Johnny. It's 9 minutes past 5 in the afternoon at the moment, so we're about 6 minutes away from the due time for the 30 minutes to start to tick down. Lots of new to talk about in this session. Teams with new cars. One absolutely brand new car. A world competitive debut due to take place in about 5 minutes' time in this session. And it is a GT4 car, but as John Hindhaugh was saying in the earlier session, because the BMW's brand new M4 GT4, the factory-developed GT4 customer offering, is not yet homologated, that will be taking the track in the SPX class, which is in this session. A car in all-over white livery, the 401, but it wasn't when it was delivered. Still in the camouflage livery it was been testing in. So this is a car that will not be making its way to customer hands for another year. So lots of more testing and 1 or 2 more races to come on the calendar for that car. But the headlines, I think, are likely to be in the hands of the A6 cars, GT3 in other money, and those cars making their way, or beginning to make their way to the end of pit lane.
Don't you think, though, Graham, that it's very easy to get drawn into a trap here, isn't it? I mean, yes, it's going to be it's going to be a flat out, it's going to be half an hour, it's all going to be who's going to get the quickest time. But if you start coming in during this session and trying to make tweaks and improvements to the car, or just take off a bit of wing here and things, it could all go horribly wrong.
Oh, it could.
One, because you get lost on the car settings. 2, we've seen it before, you might have contact with something else, you know. You have to be so careful as a team. Keep the race driver mentality, but just switch off the aggression a bit.
The focus is clearly, as Jan Martin was saying a little earlier, the focus is very clearly on the 24 hours to come. That's where the game is this weekend. It's lots of fun to talk about race cars going very, very fast, and we are going to see some very fast laps in this session. But Paul's absolutely right. The key to this is the teams understanding the best that they can squeeze out of the package they've got. The car, the settings on that car, the drivers, the track. It changes almost by the minute here, particularly when we've had, well, we say mixed weather. It has been rather cooler in the mornings. We've had actually quite thick fog for two of the mornings when we've actually arrived here early morning. And the heat does go out the day very quickly here when the sun goes down, as we found out to our cost on a number of occasions in this commentary booth. But that, I'm sure, will be the people playing the world's smallest violins back in Europe at the moment, where weather's not been too brilliant. So sorry about that. It's lovely here.
Just keep reminding them. Keep reminding them.
Part of the script.
I mean, this is going to be fastest laps possible in sprint format, if you like, but there are only going to be fleeting occasions where we see the cars in that performance trim during the race, I guess.
You know I don't like making predictions, but I'll go and stick my neck out on the line here and say that the fastest lap of the whole weekend we'll see in the next half hour. Last year we got into the 57s. I just had a quick look back. Last year we got into the 57s in qualifying. It was a 1:57.892 pole position, which I think was Christopher Mies who set the time in the Lant Audi. And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see us getting into the 57s again. I mean, there's no reason why cars should be slower this year than they were last. You know, conditions are ideal. There's a little bit of a wind just beginning to build up, but it's not really high, hot desert temperature, which is going to suck the air out of the engine. So I think we could be in the 157s for this session.
And the other thing that's changed from last year, of course, is we had a lot of new machinery last year, and the teams understand that machinery rather more. So there's a lot of development in GT3. Not a huge amount once these cars have been homologated, but the teams will have got their heads around them. What were very new cars in many cases last year. And what we've got is a whole lot of variety again, particularly in the SP3 class, the A6 class. And looking forward to seeing those cars on track. Some new shapes. The Vortex team this year coming back with their, well, silhouette machinery, if you like, looking very different indeed this year. And I'm particularly delighted, by the way, to see the 207 car on pit road. In my early followings of this race, as the Crevantic Dubai 24 Hours, the number 207 car, the Brocanet Silver Sting, was one of those specials that you followed the progress of. I'd never seen that car until 2 days ago here. Designed and built by the team, Slovakian team, in 2006. Last raced here in 2011. Has won its class at least twice here, both times with Wolfgang Kaufmann, who's back with the team again this year as part of the driving squad. And that car, based on a Porsche mechanical package, is about to take the track for the first time in competitive lappery since 2011 in the Dubai 24 Hours. I would love that.
Just need to correct myself briefly, because it was Christian Abt who set last year's pole position time, not Christopher Mies. Mies was fastest during the race, but it was actually Christian Abt in the Audi that set the pole position time.
The internet has just gone into meltdown because you were wrong.
No.
So to get rolling, qualifying 2. A warm welcome to viewers on the live stream as well as RadioLeMans.com. Johnny Parker, Graham Goodwin and Paul Trustwell taking you through the second phase of qualifying ahead of the Dubai 24 Hours for 2017, which starts tomorrow and runs twice around the clock into Saturday. We've already seen qualifying for the, I hesitate to say lower classes, but the less powered
fun
classes.
Size, we're going to call them.
Okay, I like
fun
that.
Size.
Excellent. I used to have bags of fun size for Christmas, so I'm happy with that. And these are the A6 cars, in any other term, GT3, together with the SPX, the SP2, the 991 and the 997 class cars. No prizes for guessing that the 991 and 997 classes are all Porsches. Porsche Cup cars, and it's already very, very busy as that queue at the end of the pit lane grew. So the pit lane was fit to bursting, and this is going to take just a bit of time for the cars to space themselves out and find sufficient air in order to set a quick time, Graham Goodwin.
Absolutely, cars streaming out line astern, and lots of them. Be 49 cars due to take the track for this part of the session. It was actually 42 eventually for the last session. A couple of cars damaged, one definitely out of the race, the 240 Cayman, after a very heavy shunt of the Monti racing car. The 165 Clio as well in strife this morning. Some more cars for us to catch up with on progress post-session. But in numerical order, we've got the likes of Mara Engel, the number 3 Mercedes-Benz. Christopher Mies is out there. Michael Verges is out on track. Matteo Carioli, Christopher Haase, Liza David Arnold. Paul Lafargue out in the 17 E-Deck Sport Car, which will feature Nick Manassian, by the way, in only his second ever GT race start. There's one more notable name who'll be having his second ever GT race start, and that is going to be in the Precoat Herberth Porsche, and that will be Brendan Hartley, Porsche factory LMP1 driver, asking for a shot at a GT start of his Porsche Paymasters, and being granted exactly that. Onto the apron in front of us, Johnny. As we watch the cars coming around to complete their warming up lap, is the 401 BMW M4 GT4. Schubert Motorsport entering that car and is about to enter into competition for the very first time in what will likely be quite a long career for that car.
We're having a discussion prior to this session, Graham and I, as to whether we would get to full darkness by the end of this session. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. We're going to get reasonably close to it.
It's going to be very close to being... It's going to be notably dark rather than dusk.
And if you're joining us via the live stream, these TV cameras are such great quality nowadays that they'll peer through the darkness and pick out every detail that the human eye isn't able to do. So we will see it far darker than perhaps you will at home or wherever you're watching this. But wherever you are around the world, thank you for joining us on RadioLeMans.com and via the live stream. We're really looking forward to this year's Dubai 24 Hours. It's been more or less a full motorsport week with the brand new Proto Series that Creventic has brought along for season 2017. 3 times 3 hour prototype races over Tuesday and Wednesday of this week.
Yep, and all brought live on RadioLeMans.com, yes, with LMP3 and Ginetta G57 P2 machinery winning races overall there. And a formula, I think everybody that watched it, most people that took part in it, would agree that certainly seems to suit the opportunity being offered for longer races later this season. 4 races later this season for the prototypes, and already an announcement from Creventic that there will be a 12-hour race for the prototypes the week before this race next year, creating a real festival of motorsport here in Dubai just after Christmas 2017.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about this event, is that you're just about getting used to the new year, in this case 2017, and then you look at the programme for the Dubai 24 Hours and it says, we'll welcome you back in 2018. I think, wow, that feels like such a long way off, but I guess it isn't really. 11th, 12th, 13th of January 2018, already the date confirmed for the next Dubai 24 Hours before we've had this year's.
Already getting quick times through, and fastest at the moment, and it will be briefly, Christopher Haase going through in the number 14 Audi, and that car, the Optima Motorsport car, ran very well indeed. That car, its competitive debut last year here. I think that actually led the race last year, if I remember rightly. So Christopher Haase. Robert Kubica pops up in second position at the moment in the number 29 car. And Robert is part of the Fox Racing powered by Olymp squad, the Porsche.
And Mathieu Yamane in the number 76 car.
That's the IMSA Performance Porsche. So
sounds like a Porsche, yes, yeah, because Yamane is driving it. And you and I were super impressed with Matteo Cairoli at the Red Bull Ring for the European Le Mans Series event. Well, Cairoli's on form again this weekend, I would suggest, and Yamane, who just fell short of Cairoli's points tally in last year's Porsche Super Cup, showing that he means business here in the Middle East this weekend with a 4th now best time, a 2:01.7, because Mark Bassing has appeared 2nd fastest.
That's in the Conrad Motorsport Lamborghini. So top three different makes at the moment. It's Audi from Lamborghini, then the first the Porsches, Christopher Haas and Mark Bassing, Robert Kubica, the top 3. There's 3 names to conjure with, aren't they? It's 2 minutes .809 from Haas, 2:01.371 from Bassing, 2:01.610 from Robert Kubica. But cars going quicker all the time up and down the order here. We'll bring you details of some of the classes involved in this as things start to even out a little bit, but can tell you that at the moment, of the 49 potential starters in this session, 46 of them are actually on track right now.
Yep, so very busy indeed for the first, 6 minutes or so. And we have a new name at the top of the times, Graham.
And it's Mathieu Jaminet has gone to the top of the times, the number 76 IMSA Performance. This is the Kodak liveried car, isn't it? The IMSA Performance car. 1:58.917 up to second. It's a Porsche 1-2 now, because Robert Kubica has followed through with a 1:59.116. Kubica making it very clear he's keen to get back to circuit racing, and doing not a bad job advert there, Robert. 76 from 29. Christopher Haas still holds 3rd position in the Audi, and it's a Lamborghini up into 4th. It's not the 21 anymore, it's the 963 car. That's one of the 2 GRT Grasser Racing Team cars in the hands of Mirko Bortolotti. But as I'm saying that, Mark Bassing decides he disagrees and puts the 21 car back ahead of the green Lamborghini.
So Mathieu Jaminet, Christopher Mies, Robert Kubica, now Maro Engel as well. So he now goes quickest in the number 3 Mercedes AMG, the Black Falcon car, thank you. And the 1:58.248 is getting perilously close now to the times that Paul Truswell said we should be expecting. Just a 1/4 of a second to try and find before we're into the 1:57s. But these are the sort of usual suspects, if you like. Engel, Mies, Kubica, no surprise to see him up there. Christopher Haas and Mark Bassing, certainly. Mirko Bortolotti in the GRT Grasser Lamborghini. And Mathieu Jaminet, who hasn't necessarily been a name to conjure with in Creventic racing, could well be in 2017, certainly for this event.
And actually, we're getting a bit of a train of Lamborghinis in the lower part of the top 10, because Mark Bassing, Mirko Bortolotti now ahead. Andrea Amici in the number 7 HB Racing Lamborghini, then Christian Engelhardt, the 2nd of the Grasser Racing cars, the 964 car, Lance David Arnold in the number 16 car, that's the SPS Mercedes. Christopher Haas now, though, goes to the top of timing and scoring, just edging out the best time so far, Maro Engel. Christopher Mies gets involved, now Jerome Bleekemolen into the 1:57s for Bleekemolen in the number 2 Black Falcon car, 1:57.705, half a second clear of Christopher Haas. And it's changing by the second. Nicky Pastorelli gets involved now in the GP Extreme Renault RS01 up into the lead part of the order. 7th quickest overall for the GP Extreme car.
Every time I look at the screen at the moment, it's changed again, but Bleekemolen holding firm for at least the last 20 seconds at the top of the times. 1:57.7 the time to beat. Haas is next to him on the screen, but a fair way off. That's half a second adrift for Christopher Haas in the number 14 Audi. There is the number 2 car then. If you're watching the live stream, that car is fastest so far. Jeroen Bleekemolen at the wheel, but Maro Engel's surely not going to be too far away. Maro now in the final sector, so we'll look over towards turns 15 and 16.
Has not improved in the sectors for Maro, so goes through now.
Indeed,
and does not improve, so I think that's a bit of a cooling down lap for Maro. In the classes, meanwhile, we should say, the moment, number 19, the Eurotrack Dodge Viper, that's the competition coupe, is the quickest in SPX. Daniel de Jong in that car, 15th overall for the SPX leader, ahead of the 204 car of Arnaud Gomez. Driver ID not working, we have been told, for the number 22 car. That is the Gravity Racing Mercedes-Benz. That's the older SLS GT3. 991 class, meanwhile, is being led by the 92 car of Christopher Zirklin, apologies, in that class. Ahead of Klaus Bachler, there's a name to conjure with. Klaus with FI World Endurance Championship campaigns on his CV. 2:01.6 plays a 2:01.8 at the top of the order there. And looking further down for what else we've got there, they are the classes at the moment. Anybody keeping an eye out for how well the new BMW is actually going, the M4 GT4. Jens Klingmann is running 43rd overall in that car. It's a 2:11.661, by no means a disgrace for a GT4 spec car. Number 2 car, meanwhile, is on the Weybridge as we see a bit of on-track action on the stream. The number 76 car now down in 4th position with the improvements from Bleekemolen, Haase and Engel.
And talking of off-track action, Graham, a little bit too far off the track for car number 68, which has had its last lap time deleted as a result of not respecting the track limits at turn 2, which is that kind of left-hander that brings you up towards the long sweeping right, and that's number 68, the Black Falcon Porsche, which is currently in the hand of Anders Fjordbach, I do believe, 68, and so his time disallowed. Both Jeroen Bleekemolen and Christopher Haase into the pits, as you mentioned, Graham.
Indeed, and Christopher Haase taking fuel, in fact. So presumably not a lot of fuel, so that car presumably running very light indeed. Short stints by the look of things for the 14.
You might as well, because it enables the tyres to cool down a little bit as
Absolutely.
well. And so, yeah, no point in putting more fuel in than you need to. Come into the pits, let things cool off a little bit.
Indeed.
The danger, as I said earlier on, is that sometimes you just start making little tweaks here and there.
Absolutely. Christopher Mies pops up in 4th position in the number 4. This is one of the 2 Belgium Audi Club WRT Audis. As Mathieu Jaminet brings the Porsche into the pits from 5th position. Robert Kubica takes advantage immediately, pops up in 5th now in his Porsche. So it is Mercedes-Benz, the AMG GT3 number 2 from the 14 Audi, from the number 3 Mercedes-Benz, the 4 Audi, then the first of the Porsches, number 29, then the 76 Porsche, then the 7 Lamborghini, Nicky Pastorelli in the Renault RS01, the 16 Mercedes-Benz, and then the 21 Lamborghini. That is your overall top 10. 11 and 12, by the way, are the 2 Grasser racing cars, 963 from 964 Bortolotti from Engelhardt.
So the 2 AMG is currently on pit road. Christopher Haase back out again. Maro Engel has stayed out, and his best time was a 1:58.631. He went green through sector 1. There's been no improvement though through sector 2, although 46.6 is certainly not hanging around. Christopher Mies has brought the number 4 Audi back into pit lane. Robert Kubica is in the number 29 car and is still out there. Mathieu Jaminet taking a well-deserved break for the moment. And Andrea Remici, which started quite a long line of Lamborghinis a little while ago. That's been broken up now because the 28 car of Nicky Pastorelli. Now, remind me what car that is.
That's
the 28.
The RS01. That is the Pro
Yes.
RS01 from GP Extreme. New second place car is now Mercedes-Benz, an AMG GT3 1-2 for Black Falcon. Jeroen Bleekemolen retains provisional pole, but now into the 1:58.0s comes Maro Engel. And 3rd quickest comes the Lamborghini. It's a number 963 car, Mirko Bortolotti, putting that car through in a 1:58.183. Mercedes-Benz, from Mercedes-Benz, then the 963 GRT car, and the second GRT car comes up into 5th position. So 3 mates in the top 4. AMG GT3s 1-2, then the first of Huracans, the Lamborghini 963 numbered Lamborghini from GRT, then Christopher Haase in the number 14 Optimum Motorsports Audi, the first of the R8 LMS.
Slight surprise, Graham, just looking down, picking up on what you were saying about Nicky Pastorelli driving the number 28 car, standing handed over to Jordan Groger. Jean-Eric Verne is down to drive that car as well. And if I were a team manager, I'd be expecting a guy with Formula 1 experience perhaps to be quicker. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Pastorelli or indeed Jordan Groger. But
Pastorelli, remember, is a previous pole position setter here.
With the Corvette, yes.
Yeah, but has probably got better circuit knowledge than Verne here. But I take your point.
Formula 1 drivers are supposed to be able to drive anyway, aren't they?
Absolutely. 34, meanwhile, I think that is the car collection car, is it not?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
that one's had a bit of a moment, bit of a rotation and rejoining. Spot down timing and scoring who's at the wheel of that car at the moment.
Yeah, I had the name Edelhoff spring to mind. I'm pleased I've been doing enough Creventic races to start to at least learn the entry list off by heart. Elmer Grimm, Ingo Vergler, Max and Gustav Edelhoff and Johannes Kirchhoff.
And it is Elmer Grimm that's at the wheel of the car, is passed and passed safely by the number 51 car there. Just keeping an eye on the Porsche class, and Klaus Bachler has gone to the lead in that class. 22nd quickest overall in this session, 2:03.566. As the 63 car in the hands of Klaus Bachler, taken all provision. Now goes down pit lane. That's the Porsche, not Klaus, gurgling. Matteo Chiaroli, by the way, up into the top 10 for moments before the 911 of Robert Renauer pops up, 7th quickest now. So the order still very fluid indeed. We've gone past halfway in this half-hour session, and with this many cars on track, it just feels like a quick-fire session, Paul, this.
It is, yes. I mean, this kind of length of circuit, you're right, half an hour only of qualifying. We have had a couple of driver changes, but not very many, and you would think that really you probably would get your gun higher into the car and let him set your pole or your qualifying lap. The problem is that half an hour is too long to be a short kind of single driver. Not quite long enough to let anybody else get dived into the car, but nevertheless it does give an opportunity for some more times, quick times to come. And
more quick times coming. The latest has come from Matteo Chiaroli, and he's up into 6th position now with the number 12 Porsche. That is the Monti Racing car. It's been going well all week, that 911 GT3R. 1:58.639.
Robert Renauer in the 911 Precoat Herbert Porsche also sets his fastest lap, or the car's fastest lap of the session thus far. 911 takes it to 8th fastest, 1:58.751 for the car that really took the series by storm last year's A6 champion. Doesn't carry number 1 because the overalls champion was the Hoffa Racing Mercedes team.
Yeah, leading class SP2, by the way. I missed out SP2 in that rundown through the classes, and that is the 207 Brocanet Silver Sting. Jaap van Lagen at the wheel of that car.
Just caught a glimpse of it, by the way, on the live stream coming into pit road. That, I have to say, was my first sight of that car in the flesh. I could see why you've caught the bug on that, I have to say.
It's just refreshingly different. It's something we don't see very much in modern motorsport. It's a special, and it's embraced here.
Where's it been between now and 2011? I hope in some kind of museum on a plinth.
I think it's been actually in the Bovie Motorsport garage under probably a fitted cover, my guess. I think they come out and they caress it once in a while for the successes it handed that team over the years.
But I think it's been straining at the leash, though, raring to go for competitive action, and finally that thirst has been quenched in 2017.
Yeah, clearly still has some pace in that car. It's 2:04.5 for at the moment what is the class leading time in SP2. Not a heavily populated class, it should be said. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars in that class.
So the fastest car in this session currently still in the pit lane, as is the 3rd fastest car and the 5th fastest car. But we have Christopher Haase potentially on the move. In fact, he is on the move, not in terms of position, but a 1:58 flat, 0:06 to be exact, is an improvement on the time for the number 14 Audi. And Mirko Bortolotti now back into the session in the number 963 GRT Grasser Lamborghini Huracan. That's the full GT3 spec machine. 2:11.410 is the time Bertolotti's trying to better. Christian Engelhardt in the sister car still in the pit lane though. Robert Renauer for Precoat Herbert Motorsport in the 911 Porsche is running around in 6th position at the moment, 6th fastest.
That's a further improvement.
It is, yeah, 1:58.448. Yes. Very slight blurring of the time on my screen.
Very close stuff, by the way, in the middle order for the 991 class. It is still the number 63 Klaus Bachler, is back out and now onto track, by the way. We've got just 9.5 minutes to go. Klaus Bachler leads the order in the all Porsche class from Christopher Zirklin. Bandar Alassai is third fastest, Anders Fjordbach is fourth, then Phil Quaife, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that car a little more as times go forward, and Charles Espenlaub is the order, but very close-knit stuff.
And further improvement at the top of the field as Robert Renauer now goes second fastest in the 911 Precoat Porsche, 1:57.993. So we talked about times getting into the 57s, two of them now in the 1 minute 57s. And Christopher Haase makes it three. Christopher Haase in the number 14 Audi, the Optimum Motorsport Audi, does a 1:57.847.
Yeah, chipping away, aren't they, at that advantage from Jerome Bleekemolen. 1:57.705 now plays, as Paul says, 1:57.817. It's Mercedes-Benz from Audi, from Porsche. That's your top three, the two from the 14 from the 911. Guess which one of those is a Porsche? So two Black Falcon AMG GT3 in the hands of Jerome Bleekemolen first half of the session. Putting in that time, Christopher Haase has just gone second fastest in the number 14 Optimum Motorsports Audi R8. Robert Renauer in the number 911 Precoat Herbeth 911 GT3R. Those three cars separated by just over 0.2 of a second.
And the Mercedes, meanwhile, Jerome Bleekemolen's car just sits serenely in its pit garage, or on the apron in front of the garage, with the number 3 car, which is the one that Jelmer Böhm and Hubert Haupt are in, amongst others, Mauro Engel. That car sitting alongside it, but neither the number 2 Mercedes nor the number 3 Mercedes. Number 2 car's only done 3 flying laps, and then it came in and said, right, beat that then.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
There's still 7 minutes to go, so it'll be interesting to see whether he goes out right at the end, just to be in a position to defend if he has to.
They did everything but come out and throw a gauntlet onto the track, didn't they? It was pretty impressive stuff.
Now, as Robert Renauer has had one of his times taken away from the 911 car, because that was a 1:57.8 the last time I looked at it.
And it's Christopher Haase that's had the time taken.
Ah, okay. Right, so it's dropped Haase down to third position and Renauer up to second, is it? I thought Renauer was always in second. Anyway, we'll sort that out.
Christopher Haase did a 57.847. You're absolutely right, Johnny.
And that's been deleted.
And that's okay.
Track limits turn 12, Johnny.
Renauer in the same position. A 1:58.0 is Christopher Haase's time, and the top 4 are in the pit lane, as is Nick Damon.
Yeah, it's a very different attitude. The 2 and 3 of Bleekemolen and Engel parked up. Literally, they're then put to a lovely kind of a phalanx, an ear of corn outside the front of the garage. The tyres were taken off Engel's car. They've been left on Bleekemolen's, and they're all sitting there as though you think you might do something. Now, someone who is doing something is Christian Haas in the 14 Audi R8, the Optimum car, because he's come in and he's getting a new set of boots. So Optimum are going for it, because they're putting another set of new tyres on the car. He's got about 6 minutes, 14 seconds to improve his time, and he's going to go out again. But interestingly, I was very surprised to see that Robert Renauer qualified the car rather than Brendan Hartley, but just goes to show what I know. Obviously, Robert Renauer is quite fast enough. Now there's action down at Black Falcon, and the new tyres are going on the number 3 of Mauro Engel's car. They're obviously going to try and start pushing to move up from, I think, the 4th there at the moment, back up to 2nd. They're going out for a couple of runs. Still no new tyres being offered for Bleekemolen. He's still sitting with the tyres he used for those 3 flying laps, but he's showing no indication of going anywhere. He did give me the fingers signed earlier. But so all about to kick off, at least as far as the 3 and the 14 are concerned.
All about to kick off with 5.5 minutes to go in the session. This is going to get very, very good. And there's already been movement on the screen, Graham.
There has indeed. New second place car. It's 963 numbered GRT Lamborghini Huracan. Mirko Bortolotti goes up into second slot, 1:57.822. But it's communicated to me by the international sign language of a dig in the ribs, and they're quite right too, is that there's trouble for the championship winning car of last year. That's the number 1 Hofer Racing AMG. That car's in the garage, has not set a competitive lap time. At the moment sits 33rd in the order, so it might well be worth it. I think we're in fairly close proximity to that at the moment, Nick, finding out what the problem is for the number 1, because things are about to get very interesting indeed on track, with cars improving in time at the lower end of the top 10. Are we about to see the same pattern at the top end?
Here is Nick Damon with who you seeing going out. Nick Damon just buzzing in my ears to say that
Hello.
the car is on his way out.
Yeah, Rowan Bleekemolen, but not on fresh tyres. He's on the same tyres he set his fastest lap on a few minutes ago. So everyone's gone out. New boots for Engel, new boots for Haas, and 5-lap-old tyres for Nicole Bleekemolen.
Okay, thank you for that.
Improvements for Christopher Mies, for Mathieu Jaminet. Those two respectively 8th and 7th now as a 76 Porsche pops up into 7th position. Robert Kubica has also put in a quicker time to get back into the top 10. So improvements coming.
So Bleekemolen back out, but interestingly not on sticker tyres. That's a strange decision, I'd say, from Black Falcon, but they have under their belts a 157.705, remember. Mirko Bortolotti's got almost as close as Robert Renauer did on that time that in the end was deleted. 157.822 for Bertolotti in his Lamborghini, and Robert Renauer's Porsche remains on the pit lane.
Bear in mind, though, Johnny, apropos of tyres, that these are a fixed tyre. It's not like they've got a huge selection of different compounds that they can use. It's the fixed tyre that there is just one set of Hankook, one compound of Hankook tyres that are supplied to everybody for the whole of the weekend. And as I said earlier on, Bleekemolen's only done 3 laps on that set of tyres, so there'll be nothing wrong with them. They'll be as fresh as they were. Now they've cooled down, so no need to change them. And it may be that they were just keeping the heat in the inside of the tyre. A little bit of contact we just saw on the screen there, Graham.
That was the 963, the second fastest car, the Lamborghini Huracan GRT car, contacting what there was left rear, wasn't it, of the 34 car collection Audi. That car, the Audi, is actually pitted. 963 continues seemingly untroubled. Still watching quick lap times coming through. Andrea Amici improves but stays just outside the top 10. Mathieu Jaminet not going to improve with that time. Matteo Caroli, though, up to 6th position with a 158.281 now in the number 12 car.
Yeah, Cairoli again really entertaining us. Now we are going to get the opportunity on the live screen to go through the various onboard cameras that we have. So this is first of all the number 4 Belgian Audi Club WRT car driven by Christopher Mies, and Mies is currently 9th fastest, a 158.560. He set last time around, in fact.
Indeed, and he's just on the tail of the SPS Performance Mercedes-Benz.
So this is through the twisty stuff where you can take quite a bit of curb, particularly on the right hand side there. Now really late turn in here, almost to the extent that you can't see the apex out of the windscreen. You can out of the side window though, and that's your cue point to turn hard right through this heavily banked left-hander now, which feeds you gently onto what I call the back straight. It kind of runs at a diagonal though compared to the main straight, and the cars edge away from our commentary box down towards the corner. We can just about see way off in the distance. Much better viewpoint though from Christopher Mies' seat, and just ahead of him is one of a few Audi R8s here this weekend. That was number...
It's the team car, it's the 5 car ahead of him. We've got yellow flags, by the way, out between turns 12 and 13 at the moment.
Which is just where they're coming to now on your onboard, Johnny. So you'll see it now where the yellow flag is.
It's the Broken-It Silver Sting, the car with the best name in the world.
By the way, speaking of the number 4 car, that is effectively the car that won here last year. It's a team, and Stuart Leonard drove that car last year. We don't have any of the other 3 winners, though, even taking part in the event. Alain Ferte not here this year, Michael Meadows not here this year, and the other driver whose name escapes me, I was looking it up only a few moments ago, and the boys will get on that case anyway. It may spring to mind in a moment or two, but certainly Stuart Leonard was one of those guys.
The question here is,
it might have been Haase, actually.
I think you might be right.
Christopher Haase, I'm going to say, who is now driving an Audi, but the 14 machine.
Lawrence Vanthoor.
Ah, thank you, yes.
Stuart Leonard, Michael Meadows and Alain Ferte.
New fastest lap of the session and new provisional pole mark, but not a new provisional pole sitter. Jeroen Bleekemolen improves his time in the number 2 Black Falcon AMG to 157.449. And that's going to be interesting because he must have improved that under yellow flags.
Good point, yes. Heading past the stricken 207 car. So yes, we may not be able to talk about that for a prolonged period.
Well, that time, at least, he was certainly at the top of the order.
Well, the checkered flag's out. Yeah, you're true. Yes, so it wouldn't actually change the result of qualifying, although we may have a quicker time on our hands. But as Graham says, tentatively, that might have been set under yellow flags because of the stricken car, the 207.
And it was a single lap as well. I mean, that was his first flying lap. He did his out lap, single flying lap, so it's entirely possible that there was a yellow flag, but Caron really lifted on the straight, and there may be some telemetry to prove that he lifted on the straight, but in any event, yeah, I mean, it's never a good thing to improve your time when there's a yellow flag out.
Nevertheless, isn't that all the more depressing for everyone else to know that Jeroen Bleekemolen could have gone even quicker?
I think Black Falcon will be still smarting from what you were just talking about, the fact that Audi won this race last year.
Yes, good point.
And indeed, the car 2's lap time 1:57.449 is deleted and goes back to a 1:57.705. So takes the pole position by just over a tenth of a second. Number 2 Mercedes-Benz then from the 963 Lamborghini Huracan, from the number 911 Porsche 911 and the 14 Audi 1, 2, 3, 4, Johnny.
So there is confirmation, and indeed further confirmation that the last time of Jeroen Bleekemolen was deleted. So we stick to a 1:57.705 to be the pole position time. Number 2 Black Falcon car on pole alongside the GRT Grasser Racing Lamborghini Huracan, driven by Mirko Bortolotti, a 1:57.822 his time. From the Herbert Motorsport 911 Porsche, that's a great performance from Robert Renauer. Remember, he did have a 1:57.8 deleted, but a 1:57.9 still very strong. And then fourth fastest, Christopher Haase in the number 14 Optimum Motorsport R8 LMS, a 1:58.006. Row 3 will provisionally be Black Falcon and Montai. Mercedes versus Porsche. The drivers involved Mara Engel and Matteo Cairoli, and it was a 1:58.092 for the Black Falcon car, a 1:58.281 for Manthey. GRT Grasser Racing managed to get 2 of their cars in the top 10. Christian Engelhardt in the 964 car doing a 1:58.3. Mathieu Jaminet really impressing for his first Dubai 24 Hours. Car 76, a 1:58.5 ahead of Christopher Mies in the 4 and Robert Kubica in the number 29 car, a 1:58.6 for the pole. And on to page 2, headed by HP Racing and their number 7 Lamborghini Huracan, a 1:59 flat ahead of the GP Extreme Renault RS01. SPX pole taken by the Vortex V8. The number 204 car, that was Arnaud Gomez setting the time, a 201.895. And further class pole positions, the 991 class Bachler unsurprisingly taking pole position in class 991, a 203.566 for the Austrian driver. And A6AM is Paul Mug, isn't it?
It's a 17-need export Mercedes-Benz. We'll see Nick Minasian in that car during the race. And we've also got A2 in there somewhere. Not A2, where are we? SP2. And
which
SP2.
may be the Bovey Motorsport car, which is on our screen right now.
It's the 207 car.
Yep, so on the live stream you'll be able to see the Bovey Motorsport 207 broken net silver string, which sadly didn't make the end of the session, but did put in a really good time.
Coming back under tow as I look out over the circuit, and night begins to fall in earnest. More track action to come here, though, Johnny.
There is indeed, yeah. For the is out, we've got the night time is out, shall we say. We've got 2 hours of night practice. We have Nick Damon in the pit lane. I know, lining an interview up for us as reaction to the last half an hour of qualifying. Nick, are you ready to go?
I am. It's not just any old interview. It's our pole sitter, Jeroen Bleekemolen, who was not only pole once, but pole twice, but they took the second one away.
Yeah, that's a bit curious because there was a car parked, and as I arrived, they took the flag away at the same time, and yeah, all the more it was green again. So yeah, I think the lap is valid. Anyway, I would argue it with them, but the other one apparently was already enough. So yeah, 2 laps is yeah, it's great.
What was it like? You set pole, then you sat in the car for about 15 minutes watching people shoot at you.
Yeah, it's not nice. I know, you know, the level is so high here, lots of great teams and some really strong drivers, so you just never know when you got it. I had a pretty good lap at first, but I had a car in the last corner, so that was quite a shame. So I knew I could improve a little bit, which I did on that last run. So yeah, great lap, and yeah, a great start. I know we have a strong team for the race, so really looking forward to it.
Second year with the AMG. Has the car been improved a lot in the last 12 months?
Well, I think it's pretty similar. I mean, when the new car came out, it was already really good. They did lots of testing with their test drivers, and yeah, it's just a great product. We just came from Daytona. Also there, the car's just running great, so I love it. I'm going to do a lot of races in this car this year, and yeah, it's great.
Jeroen, congratulations. Go and celebrate with your team. You've got about 14 hours till we start.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeroen Bleekemolen joining Nick Damon down in the pit lane. Just to correct something I said earlier on, the A6 AM pole position actually taken by car 29, Robert Kubica. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that was what I thought. AM and Pro is a bit of a movable feast. You kind of get moved from AM into Pro, and that's been corrected now. So Kubica was actually been pushed into the Pro category already.
Thank you, Paul. I'm always amazed how quickly an hour disappears with two very quick-fire half-hour sessions there. But the grid is set. We still have night practice, though, to come later on this evening between 6 and 8 o'clock local time. Do the relevant calculations wherever you are in the world. My thanks to Graham Goodwin, Paul Truswell and Nick Damon downstairs in the pit lane. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of qualifying, and join us again on RadioLeMans.com.